Hey, sixth graders, it is April 5th. It's Monday. We're going to have like an 80-degree day today. And then I think we're going to get down to 50 tomorrow. So feel a little normal, a little too warm. It's too early. All right. Hey, today we got some more skills from Quill, and then you're going to submit your work for today. We have our last two text features to take our notes on. And I'm going to sort of officially give you something to do with Google Sheets. Some of you, I know I've been really inconsistent and I apologize. It's because our timing keeps changing. So I will own that the whole expectations with the Google Sheets thing is been a little unclear. So that's my fault. Same thing with Book Creator. Okay, so here's what we've gone through today. We've gone through capitalization, did some review on that, and then possessives, right? So we did some review on that. Where we have to talk about next is right here with the singular versus plural, because here's where English is a nightmare. This is why English is so hard to learn. All right, so let's take the word fish, right? Okay, if I use fish as a verb, like that's something I'm doing, right? I am the thing. What am I doing? I'm, fishing. So the word fish, I fish as often as I can. That makes total sense, okay? I fish as often as I can. If I want to say that he fishes as often as he can, I have to add that es. So the word fish can have an es on it, and it's a different form of it. I fish, he fishes. Okay, so we got that, right? Now here's where it gets nuts. So if I want to just use it as a noun and I want to say one fish, right? There's one fish in the pond. I don't add anything, right? Just fish. Guess what? The plural, the more than one version of fish is the same word. There are many fish in the pond. See, that doesn't even make sense, because if you can put an es here for a verb, why couldn't you put there are many fishes in the pond, right? That's exactly what you think it should do. It does not. That's why this is such craziness. So here's our thing is we're going to try to work on some singular versus plural forms. You have to be thinking about what's the right form. You don't have to have it mastered, but you got to be thinking of like, am I doing it right? So for instance, there's a thing called agreement in language where a form of the word, however you spell it, whichever version of it, it equals how you're using it, okay? So if it's singular or plural, its form must match. And if it's singular or plural, the verb you use with it must match. For instance, we play ultimate frisbee a lot. That's we, right? We play. That's more than one. She is one, plays ultimate frisbee a lot. So that S goes on there because it has to change depending on whether it's plural or singular. So that's an example of the verb's got to change. Now, here's another one. There is no plan for another baby in our family, all right? There's no plan. That's one plan. There is no plan. There are no plans for more babies in our family. So everything is suddenly switched to plural. And we got baby changed to babies, IES, a plan changed to plans with an S, and is changes to R. See how all of this is working together. All right. Then there's also like this weird thing with fish, right? The hunting season, we got one deer, singular. This hunting season, we got 3 deer, plural, right? So it doesn't change. So sometimes there does. Bear, bears. Ostrich, ostriches. Sometimes the form changes, and you just got to ask that question. Then you have this IES weird thing, right? You have an opportunity to earn money babysitting. That's one opportunity. You have many opportunities to earn money babysitting. That's where Y often turns to IES in English, okay? I take one bus to the Mall of America. Here's what's really interesting. We take 2 buses to the Mall of America. So I add an ES sometimes to do plural. 1 bus, 2 buses. Sometimes people want to do this. 2 S's? This is the weird one. Sometimes you do it, not there. And sometimes words change entirely, right? There was 1 mouse in our house, or there are 7 mice. So not mouses. It changes to an entirely different word. And then lastly, I got 1 life to make a difference in the world. 1 life. A cat gets 9 lives to make a difference in the world. It totally changes. We have an entirely different version of life, and that F turns to V and then an S. So that's some of the stuff that we have to play with here, is you just got to memorize some of this stuff, and you got to ask the question and ask someone who knows, which version do I use here? Okay, so your work for today is on another one of those examples where I want you to make a copy. So I give you a document here in Schoology, right there. Here's a link to a copy. You're going to get a copy of this. And what I want you to do is wherever there's a red line here, I want you to change the version of the word after it to the right one. So for instance, I am going to the Twin Cities. City is one city, but I want to change it to plural, or the version that makes sense. You don't take I'm going to the Twin City. Twin city, that's two, can't be one. It's got to be cities, two. Or the gods enjoy messing around with humans. The gods, more than one. The plural version, the plural verb that goes with it is enjoy, not enjoys. Okay, so that's what your assignment is for today. I want you to practice, and then we'll come back and talk about it. So that's your work for today with plural versus singular. All right, you will submit that to today's assignment. Okay, on to the notes. There's only two left. There are bullet points and there are fact box or sidebar. Okay, so this would be a moment where you switch over to this thing, right? We're almost done. Right there's your sheet. I want you to have that sheet. That's your checklist sheet. You need that. And you've been taking notes all along if you've been following along. So we got two more, and the two are, first one is bullet points. All right. Now here's the thing. They're really good at makes lists easier to read and understand, right? Lists, they're about lists. But bullet points, they offer spacing, they offer that little dot. They separate information into very specific, very simple ideas. It is assumed that each bullet point is important and it will require more explanation. So I never look at this as like just the information. That's it. I assume that there's going to be more explanation of arteries, veins, and capillaries, right? Or I'm going to get more information because one word is never enough. So for instance, over here, if I were to list the members of an average movie crew, I would do these. This is a list. Director of photography, first assistant camera person, second assistant camera person, film loader, digital imaging technician. I can see very quickly, there's 5 bullet points, there's 5 positions, right? Now I would need more information about each of these because I don't know what they do, but that gets me going on what are the pieces. Okay, so pieces. And then lastly, so take these notes here. You can stop the video. Next video, a stoppage would be right here for number 17 is a fact box or sidebar. Now, here's the thing. These are very purposeful. They're big enough and stand out enough that the information is either, like, I can assume it's either really important, like I need to know it, or it's really interesting, like it's an additional bit of information. You'll see fun facts often, you'll see clarifications, you'll see further explanations. So for instance, if I go back to my example that I used earlier, the director of photography, so there was my bold word, right, is the captain of the camera crew. There was my italics word. They are responsible for the look and lighting of every shot. Okay, now I might use a sidebar or a fact box over here to sort of further play off of this idea of director photography. This isn't a definition. This is just more information. So for instance, another name for the director of photography is the cinematographer. Therefore, the Academy Award for Best Cinematography goes to the best director of photography. So you see what I did there? Is that you don't really need to know that when I'm explaining this term or this paragraph, but it is a nice little bit of extra information. So that's what backbox and sidebars are. So when you kind of have sort of information that doesn't really need to be presented, but you just want to add a little bit extra because it helps someone get a full idea of what's going on. Usually it's very helpful. All right. So so you've submitted, hopefully at this point, you got this done. That should take you about 15 to 20 minutes. You got your 2 notes taken. Now, last thing I want you to do is this time I want you to do this. I want you to submit your Google Sheets. So in Google Sheets, I want you to, first of all, you got to download the app, okay? And I know that I've done this about 1,000,000 times, but I'm still going to keep coming back to us because I want you to play around with this again. So up here, the thing here to do is right here. When I'm playing around with this plus button right there, that's where all the magic happens. So I click on that and I'm going to get, oops, clicked on the wrong thing. There we go. I clicked on the plus. And now I get the chart. That's what I want to click on. And I want you to follow these directions and then choose chart, and then we'll see what happens. Because what we're trying to do here is build this idea of building a graph. They're very powerful. All right, so that's what I want you to submit for today as a second revision. Is I want to see a picture of your chart. I want to see that you can do it. If you can't, email me and I can answer the question or do a little tutorial. All right, now here's the thing. And again, you can always go to Google, right, and search up for videos teaching you how to do a chart on YouTube. This is not hard, right? We can look up a million things. Now, here's the thing. The reason why we're working on charts, or why any of this, these are the 17 things we've taken notes on, is that text features are manipulatable. They can be used to make people believe things because they look official. For instance, right here, the Times leaves the rest behind in print and online, right? So this chart right here makes everything look great for the Times, this newspaper. But really, the numbers aren't that much different. So if people just look at visuals, this bar looks way bigger than this one, but they started the scale like in midstream. It's not a 0 to 400,000 or 500,000. It starts at 400,000, and this one only reaches 446. This one reaches 485. Okay, that's 35,000, more subscribers. There's more people reading this, but it isn't that much more. Not like that. Or down here, unemployment rate, right? This chart doesn't even make sense because it starts out at 9.0%, and it talks about the unemployment rate. We want a low unemployment rate, right? 9.0%. It ends at 8.6, but doesn't it look like it's the same level? Look at that. So these numbers are almost like random. Like this is a terrible chart, but like someone might say like, oh, this person isn't doing a good job. And these numbers don't even make sense. So the whole point of this is that they can be manipulated. So what we're going to do, just so you know, is that our big assignment, you can start thinking about this. There's no assignment for this today. Create a book in Book Creator that effectively convinces your reader of something not true using text features to legitimize your writing and your points. I want you to use text features to make your stuff look like I should believe it. All right? Now, that being said, here are the requirements. And again, we're not working on this today, so no pressure, but you are going to use certain things to create this. You're going to have certain things, and other things you're going to choose. So for instance, everything in green here, you have to have at least one example of in your book. Everything in red is going to be a choice. Like you have to have an index or a glossary, photograph or an illustration, a caption or a label, graph or a table, bold print or italics. Just choose one. And everything in purple is really just an option. You don't need the purple, but you can have them if you want. So what you're going to know is just ahead of time, so you kind of get an idea. You do not have to research anything. You can help. It can help you, but you don't have to. I want you to try to write like nonfiction. So we got to stay away from opinion words, and we'll talk about that as we write. Time and polish. We're going to give you about 2, maybe even 3 weeks to finish something that's really good. And you also should know this, that you're going to be judged by an audience of your peers. So I will give you a grade, but you're also going to be judged on whether you convince someone. And it's going to be another class of 6th graders. So just to give you a starting point, I might come up with some idea like this. Dogs are plotting to take over the earth. So this might be my title page, right? I've got a picture of a cute dog. That's Gizmo. That's my dog. So that's a real image I can use. It's not from Google. I'm kind of playing with things here. Like I told you, we're kind of not telling the truth here. So we having some fun. I'm going to call myself Dr. Colin Slaby, PhD, because guess what? Everyone always believes people with PhDs. They should question. I might be a doctor of masks, but it is a PhD. So people will be like, oh, he's smart. Okay, so there's my title. It's a little annoyingly green. Immediately, I can come up with some information. So like I created this graph in Google Sheets, right? It says dog attacks by decade, 1980, 1990, 2000, 2010, 2020, right? And it looks like it's going up. I just made up those numbers. And I have here a caption, right? So I can say in a decade by decade analysis, attacks by the end of 2021. This is over 4 times the number of attacks recorded in dog attacks. Yeah, it doesn't even make sense. I have to redo this. I wrote this very quickly. But this is a caption, right? And then I have a bold word and I have a sort of a vocabulary. So if you think about it, like just this panel alone, I have a title so far. There's my title. I have a heading, what the statistics show. I have a caption. There's my caption. I have a graph right there. Absolutely. Made a graph of my own. And actually, I forgot this. I got a photograph. Okay. Now, the problem is that's not one page that's going to solve anything, right? I'm going to need more information. I'm going to need a lot more writing and a lot more explanation. So I am not almost done with my assignment just by having this one page, just so you know. But this is kind of the idea. So we'll play with this in a little bit later. All right. So there's your intro. You don't have to do anything with this today. I just wanted to give you a little explanation. Your assignment for today is, as an end of Monday, right? April 5th, finish plural singular practice and submit. Take notes on 16 to 17 and submit photo of Google Sheet. Okay, that's it. Oh, actually, Google Sheet. There you go. That's all we need for today. Hope you're good. Hope you had a good weekend. Take care.